Have a mix of creativity, character, and a bit of comedy, I imagine. So, without further ado, Marva, good evening.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Welcome to an exceptional week, a week where we observed International Women's Day, and a week where we are reflecting on the anniversary of an invasion called COVID-19, which of course saw a leapfrog moment and a paradigm shift in education like never before. But even more importantly, Thoughtful Thursday, our activity. It gives me great pleasure to welcome colleagues from all over the Caribbean to tonight's session 10 of season 2. I am Marva Daniel, principal for over a decade at the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School, right here in St. Lucia, and secretary of the St. Lucia Secondary Schools Principal Association, SPA, as we call it. With me is my co-moderator, Mrs. Rita Celestine Carty, who is, of course, no stranger to us. But we are aware that some participants this evening are new to the platform. So Rita, kindly allow our viewership to view and to listen and to, of course, enjoy your wonderful self.
Thank you so kindly, Marva. And I really do feel that it is a privilege to be co-host of this Thoughtful Thursday along with you. Everyone knows my name now, so I will just add that I am the principal of the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School in Anguilla. We operate currently on a shift system on 6 different sites, and we cater to 1,200 students. The 6 sites reflect our desire and our intention to cater to all of the diverse needs of all secondary school students in the public system in Anguilla. Marva, I know like you, I am looking forward to all of the different activities for Thoughtful Thursday, and particularly today to a very developmental session given the topic. So back to you now.
And so what's in store for all of us this evening? Today, we shift slightly to another very important function of digitally savvy instructional leaders as principals, financial management. We too, like all local, regional, and international bodies, such as the EU, UN, UNICEF, UNESCO, have explored how best to manage our scarce resources during this crisis renaissance. And so as digitally savvy instructional leaders, it is imperative that we are not just aware of the global financial climate, but more importantly, of our school's very own finances. But first, let us greet and meet and gel, right, Lisa?
Yes, Marva. So off we go now to our breakout rooms. That's our first activity. And we're going to share there on the topic, what are some of the financial challenges that you have been confronted with as a principal since the pandemic, and how have you managed? So I'll repeat it. What are some of the financial challenges you have been confronted with as a principal since the pandemic, and how have you managed? We know, Marva, that as usual, the participants are going to enjoy the meet and greet time, and they'll be able to make connections on the ways that we are all dealing with financial management in our various territories. So off to the breakout rooms and see you all back in the main room soon.
Very soon. So are we all back in the main room? Hello, everybody.
Yes, we are.
Yes, hello,
Wow.
Marva.
This was quite a trip. I've been all the way up from Belize all the way down to Trinidad, and this flight was really interesting. Awesome. Colleagues, although it has been quite a stressful period with very scarce resources at our disposal, from all of what I have heard this evening from my breakout room, we have shared some much needed ideas on how to manage even better with the little that we have. So I'd like to thank everybody for your participation in the breakout activity. Thank you so much. Would you say the same, Rita?
Yes, definitely.
Was it an awesome time?
Yes, yes. You know, we shared, and I'm sure you know that the sharing was beneficial and also inspiring despite the difficulties that everybody is experiencing. As Pat, who managed our room, was saying, principles work magic, and we keep it going no matter what is happening, whether or not the support is coming from the sources it's supposed to come from, whether the students are paying their fees or not. All of the equipment for sanitizing for COVID was bought. The investment in IT had to be done. The printing of the packages of work for students had to be done. The care units had to be set up, even if we had to divert space that was used for counseling and other things. Personal funds had to be used,
definitely.
but we
saw such a diverse, you know, an integration of all the skills we've been learning over the past nine Thursdays. You know, principals are really, really savvy in their own rights. And so we have to give them credit. So we are moving along.
Yes, we continue to learn and be inspired by one another in the breakout rooms. And we're going to turn our attention now to our presidential thoughts. This evening, these thoughts will be presented by Ms. Examine Filbert. You know her well, Marva. She's the president of the St. Lucia Secondary Schools Principals Association. Ms. Filbert is principal of the Angers Secondary School, which is located in the south of St. Lucia. And she's also a sports enthusiast. Here now are her presidential thoughts. Over to you, Examine. Marva, there seems to be a little bit of a technical difficulty, but
I'm not sure. We've done our part, I'm sure.
Okay, it's coming up now.
Speaking.
Yeah, our
it's coming up
has
now.
paid off.
Here is Examine. I think they've just caught her.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Colleagues, by accepting the role of principal, we are consented to be supermen and women. We committed to undertake a multiplicity of functions such as student holistic development, academic success, staff development and growth, health and safety, parental engagement, and financial management and stability. Tonight, I will focus on the latter, financial management and stability, which oftentimes are left solely to the school bursars. I will adopt students' perception of the term financial. Money, 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 money. Money. Money, 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 money. Money is the OJs. And from the OJs to Rick James. From ABBA to Sparrow to Tobago Cruise. From culture to the Papa Veda. The refrain is the same. In Veda, Laja, 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 hold tight. Let's spell it. Let's manage it by spelling it. It spells M. Monitor finances and maintain accurate and credible records. Open the books to staff. Have monthly updates and field the questions. Be open and transparent. Let them identify and take ownership of the records. O. Organize. Organize control of annually prepared budgets so as to properly manage the school's funds, resources, assets, and expenditure. Budgets must be in keeping with the financial goals set. Also, keep abreast of changes in budgetary provisions and make the necessary adjustments. N. Negotiate. Negotiate and network with clients and stakeholders to make the most of every dollar. This will maximize the school's financial power and avoid duplication of resources, time, and energy. E. Educate. Educate yourselves on financial policies and principles and establish financial goals and strategies. This will ensure adherence to the correct and acceptable financial practices. In so doing, there will be a greater appreciation of the work of the bursars, and more support and guidance can be given to them. Why? Yield. Yield to professional and ethical behaviors guided by the established protocols and procedure. It was the OJs, an invader, now ABBA. Money, money, money must be funny in a rich man's world. Money, 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 always sunny in a rich man's world. In closing, remember, it is not a rich man's world. We are responsible for the financial management of our school's finances, assets, and resources. Monitor, organize, negotiate, educate, and yield to professional and ethical behaviors to maintain your integrity, reputation, and character. Manage school finances with class. Be a first-class financial manager. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Someone very influential once purported that if our actions inspire others to dream more, I'm certainly dreaming more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. President Philbert, you have certainly given us wealthy food for thought with your succinct and dramatic presentation of the acronym MONEY. Thank you richly for your wealthy instructions, Madam President. Rita, you're smiling. I suspect you have some interesting thoughts going around there from our president.
Yes, I wanted to add, thank you for singing for us. And you have a president that can sing as well. So that's a lot of talent. Yes,
that's a awesome for you.
Yes. And now, Marva, for the moment of movement. Last week, our colleagues in St. Lucia showed how a simple line dance can prove what the medical researchers have been reporting. And that is that dancing helps to reduce stress, increase energy, improve strength, and condition the body. Now, who doesn't want that? So now we're going to keep moving and we are going to enjoy some Zouk music, and all of us are going to get up from our seats, Marva. So I hope you're not glued, and benefit from moving. So over now to the moment of movement from St. Lucia, some Zouk. Marva, I promise Zouk. That wasn't Zouk, but it was definitely movement.
Zouk. I suspect RSC went away with the Zouk because it was too hot for principals tonight. I suspect that's what happened. Thank you, colleagues, for
It was
understanding the
movement all the
importance of
same.
movement. It was movement. And so we encourage you, simply move. Let us continue to move, whether it is Zouk, whether it is reggae, country and western calypso, or what you saw this evening, a mixture, a fusion of our local dances, all right? Katumba, Bele, Kot, everything mixed in that. And we actually composed that song that very day when we danced this together. Never stop moving. Your bodies will love you more. And now we move on to Money Talks. An educator for over 30 years, current principal of a secondary school in St. Lucia, well-learned, having pursued and obtained Masters of Business Administration in Finance, Bachelor of Science in Management Studies with Finance, and also has been a very qualified and trained teacher. She's an experienced financial manager with extensive experience, having served in several positions at local, regional, and international organizations. This charismatic young lady is professionally affiliated and associated with many august bodies. I won't start to mention because there's so many. She, of course, is a community activist, the proud mother of 2 handsome young men, and she was just recently awarded for her outstanding achievements as a woman by our St. Lucia Teachers Union in recognition of the International Women's Day activities at our annual conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you as our National Principal Association dubbed her Strength of a Woman, Charismatic, Heroic Martina Belize. Let's welcome her.
Marva, you are so funny. Can you hear me? Just doing a mic check.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Great. Okay, thank you for the introduction, Marva. And this evening, well, good evening, everyone. I am tasked with the responsibility of presenting a very, very strong topic that would probably take me an hour and a half, but I have very limited time. So I have to speak very quickly on the principle as a financial manager, whether it is for your school or your personal finances. So I will go right into it because I do not want Marva to cut me mid-presentation. Oops. Okay, let us begin. So the principle as a financial manager. When we talk about management, those of us who have studied management, I'm sure you remember the acronym PLOC, and that was what would have helped you with your exams. Planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. Once you remember these 4 words, you most definitely know the functions of management. So as a financial manager, you are basically executing these duties in the hope that you will achieve the financial goals of your organization. And by that, I mean your school. So we're looking at planning, directing, monitoring, organizing, and controlling the monetary resources of your school, of course, in line with your school's strategic plan or developmental goals. As a financial manager, what is important for you to know, or in terms of the activities that you would have to oversee? First of all, you have to monitor your account balances. What do I mean by that? Well, as the digitally savvy principal, you should, as much as possible, try to have online banking for your school. And if not, you need to get your monthly bank statements. So reconciliation is extremely important. When you receive your monthly bank statement, you have to ensure that your bank statement corresponds with your cash book. So the balance on your bank statement at some time has to equal the balance on your cash book. If that doesn't happen, this is where you reconcile. So you would have had unpresented checks that you have written that has not been presented to your bank. That has to be factored in. Additionally, you may have bank deposits that have not been credited to the account. So knowing your exact balance as at a particular date is extremely important. That will help you determine how you move about with your expenditure. The other thing, your revenue stream. It is important that you know where you are getting your revenues from. Right now, persons talk a lot about not having funds, and then you have persons talking about having excess funds because of COVID. Students are out, teachers are out, and the school has more money on its account, but it may not necessarily be that way across the board. You need to decide on spending categories. Now we will look at some of these areas in more detail as I proceed with the presentation. Spending categories, that's extremely important when you are creating a budget. Prioritizing the items under these spending categories is also important. Analyzing of trends that can never be overstated. I will show you how you can analyze the trends. You create your budget, you monitor the spending, and of course, 7 is linked with 1. If you're monitoring your spending, you are monitoring the account balances and you are ensuring that you're giving certain things priority. With COVID now, we have to restate our budget. So those of us who had created a budget, we now recognize that we probably have to spend more, or we have more money that we can redirect. And for that reason, we have to restate our budget. Our revenue streams, I heard that in the breakout room, persons are very aware of their revenue stream. Internal in terms of fundraising, and it's extremely important that you recognize these funds belong to the clubs, the departments, the sports persons who are raising funds for sports. So when you are looking at revenue that is available for spending, not necessarily this, because they will come to you and ask you for those funds for what they were intended for. Then you have those of us with a canteen, we have canteen revenue. That would be in the form of rental, or if we are running our own canteen, we would look at the surplus. So that's internal revenue. External revenue, sponsorship, ministry subvention, and facility fees. Right now, we know we're suffering where facility fees are concerned, and some benefactors are indicating that the bottom line is too low in order to assist us. But remember, I am presenting not just for COVID, but generally what would happen in the school setting. So expenditure category. When you are deciding on your budget, it is extremely important that you recognize what you are spending money on. And you don't just write a check haphazardly, or somebody comes and they want to get this, or, oh, we need this right away, let us do this. No, it has to be strategic, it has to be systematic, and you have to continuously monitor. So, Staff Welfare and Development Fund. That amount of money that you are setting aside, you're setting aside that money for training, staff appreciation, and even sometimes you may have to assist somebody who's had a mishap. It may come from schools fund, or it could come from other staff members, but at least you are aware, or some amounts can be matched based on what other teachers have given to help a teacher who is experiencing some sort of distress. The social fund, which is the student welfare fund. We have the school feeding program. In some instances, that is assisted by the Ministry of Education, or you would have to run your school feeding program on your own. Of course, that's schools fund again. Student transportation in St. Lucia, we have the bus subsidy program, but the students do come to school. Sometimes they do not have bus money, and we have to assist. So you still have to put some monies aside for that. Sudden mishaps, fire, death, flooding of a student, their family, they're displaced. So we as a school may want to assist in that regard. Teachers would assist, other persons out there, but the school may want to put a little bit of funds aside just to assist with that. Of course, our school plans and capital fund. With COVID, we had to get the plexiglass in place, retrofitting of rooms. For me, I had to do a little staff room to remove some teachers from our bigger staff room so that we have more social distancing in effect. Repairs and maintenance, that's a recurrent expenditure. So of course you must budget for that. And we get the subvention from the ministry to help us with our capital works. Academic fund, the textbooks and other resources for teachers. Some schools have a book rental program where they purchase the books and they rent it out to the students. You also have some schools purchasing class sets or creating modules. Of course, the modules are used by the students, or the teachers use those so that the students who do not have the resources, at least you're taking care of that. And of course, our teachers are less stressed in that regard. So here's where I want to spend a little more time. So looking at analytics, that is extremely important. How many of us look at our expenditure? Now, this is just an example for expenditure, but the same can be done with income. In the first term, capital expenditure is at its peak, or you are spending a lot more. We get the government subvention in St. Lucia in August. What do we use that for? We use it for retrofitting, everything to do with the school plant. So of course, a lot of money is spent in the first term on that. Social. Sometimes because it's the beginning of the school year, the parents have a little money, so you're not really helping students as such. The bar is high, but not so high because some students have a bit of funds that their parents can't afford at the time. And then we have the academic. Look at the academic line, the blue line. When school begins, we have to ensure that we provide teachers with all the resources they need. Departments need the textbooks, everything else that we have to get for the teachers to ensure that they cater for the students. So our learning environment is very much conducive in terms of teachers having the resources and being able to execute their duties so that learning takes place. And then we have staff welfare and development. Staff welfare and development is also higher in the first term. Why? We have professional development day occurring in St. Lucia. We have a planning week. So we would have to spend money on lunches for teachers, maybe pay a facilitator. But basically, we are spending money on staff development in the first term more than we do in the other terms. Also, in terms of staff welfare, October, we know that first week of October is Teachers Week, and the school may want to do something for the teachers, a lunch, a dinner, take them somewhere for the day. So we have some expenditure there. And Christmas time, of course, occurs in the first term. The teachers would spend money, but you may want to assist. So that is why we have the lines being higher for academic as well as staff development in the first term. In the second term, you have capital works being reduced because most of what you have done is within the first term. Then you have the social fund increasing in St. Lucia. This is our continuous assessment term where students are at school right through. They don't go home for exams. So of course, in terms of assisting them socially, that bar would be higher. Your academic, staff welfare and development fund is decreasing because you may have 1 or 2 professional development sessions. And in the third term, you have capital works being reduced, more so because you would have taken care of that in the first and second term, but you will have some things that would just appear on you, some unforeseen works that you have to do, plumbing and whatnot. And then you have the social fund increasing again. Why? Because we have end of term examinations and you have some students, it's increasing more than in the first term because you have some students who are actually at school and some who are at home because they only come to school during the examination period. Of course, the staff welfare and development fund, as well as the academic fund, this would be reduced in the third term. So looking at time series analysis is extremely important. You need to crunch your figures and use analytics in order to recognize trends in your school's expenditure. And as I said, this is for expenditure, but you can also do one for income. Managing school finances during COVID. That was said in the breakout room. Prioritize your spending. Right now, we're not spending a lot, but still whatever funds you have there, you have to ensure that some things have to be subordinated to what is extremely important. Your budget has to be restated. I said that before. You would have had a budget, but as you know, different things happen, you have to restate the budget, and that is what we do in our everyday lives as well. You seek sponsorship, I said that previously, as well as the Ministry of Education's assistance where possible. Never be afraid to ask the ministry, you know. You never know what you can get. So beg the benefactors, beg the ministry, try what you can. But some persons are saying that they do have some funds, let it stretch until the end of the year when you get your next subvention. Now, let's quickly go to managing your personal finances during COVID. And why is it important to do that? There is no light at the end of the tunnel yet. We don't know what's going to happen. It's predicted that there will be a world recession, and there will be a world recession. So we have to brace ourselves for that. We have not begun to weather the storm of COVID, believe it or not. There's much more to come. It's a ripple effect. And we have to have the tools and knowledge in order for us to make prudent decisions about our finances. What must we do to manage personal finances during the COVID crisis? Financial planning, financial planning, financial planning, non-stop. You have to create a financial plan. Have you done that? We are public servants. We get our salaries monthly. Other persons have been affected. We have not been really affected. So does that mean we don't make a financial plan? Hell no. We have to make a financial plan because we do not know what's going to happen to our economy and how it's going to affect us. Sacrifice, something has to give. What have you sacrificed? Ask yourself that question now. In the wake of COVID, what have you sacrificed? Because if you do not sacrifice that little bit, trust me, in the end, you will have to sacrifice a lot more. So now is the time to prioritize. The economy. Have you monitored your local economy? Have you recognized what's going on? Are you listening to the financial news and hearing what the government is saying with regards to the economy? That is extremely important. I move on to the 10 suggestions I've created in order for you to manage your finances during COVID. I just spoke about the economy. The information you get must be reliable. Don't rely on hearsay. Use reliable sources. Financial planning. Get information from your financial institution in terms of what they can do in terms of debt adjustments. Be very careful and ensure that that doesn't affect your credit rating. It is important if you are getting a moratorium that you ask pertinent questions. When do I pay it? Do I pay the interest accumulated before? Is it added to my loan? And is my loan tenure going to be extended? Am I paying interest on interest? You have to be extremely careful when your financial institution has made adjustments for you. Review your budget. I've said that before. Check your financial position, redirect funds, remove expenses that are easy to eliminate. Some things we don't need. Don't go to the sales. Don't go to the Black Friday. Don't go to whatever. Leave it alone. As you browse and you see things, leave them there. Don't pick them up. They're not priority. Continue to work on your spending plan, stick to it. Have an emergency fund. All of us know that is 2 to 3 months of revenue, but you know what? Right now it's not realistic. So put a little aside, a little, and monitor your level of financial progress. Monitor your assets and liabilities. Right now we want to grow our assets, reduce our liabilities, but COVID is kind of not helping with that in some regard. But if you can, why not do it? Don't wait. Reduce your liabilities, increase your assets where possible. Tax code, change your tax code. If you change your tax code, you have more net income coming to you. How do you change your tax code? Recognize what it is that you have in terms of what is tax deductible. If you have a new pension plan, you have insurance, All of these additional monies that you are using, you can go to the Inland Revenue Department and they will rework the amount of money they tax you every month, and your disposable income can increase as much as $200. Of course, I have already spoken about having a buffer. Over time, you can increase that with whatever you can. No amount is too little. Cash flow management. Some of us, we don't recognize how much money we spend before the next pay date. How long it takes you before your salary becomes zero, or your net income, I should say, before it becomes zero by the next pay date. You have maybe about 4 weeks. How do you spread that net income over 4 weeks? You must pay careful attention to that. Pay careful attention to money coming in and money going out and how you spend it. Use the technology. Online banking is very important for you to monitor your account balances. If you are writing checks, that's even worse. If you just swipe in, that's even worse. So keep checking. The digitally savvy principle will definitely be online checking their bank balances. Payment reminders. Ensure that your calendar in your phone, your tablet, your computer has payment reminders so that you avoid late fees. You can pay the minimum balance on your credit card. Sometimes it's recommended you pay more, but in the wake of COVID, I would recommend that you pay the minimum. Okay, money left over, you can use it to save or prioritize in terms of some much needed expenses. Now, how do you monitor your level of financial progress? As you do everything I have said there before, in the first quarter, check to see, have you made any progress? No progress, that's not good at all. You see where it is? Slow progress, well, that's kind of motivating, but not very motivating. So if you had slow progress, you may want to increase it a little more. Steady, which means you basically have been doing the same thing every month for the last 3 months in that quarter. You may say, okay, steady, I'm doing something. But if it is that you every month in the 3 months that you've been increasing each month, you've made satisfactory progress. And then if you look at that quarter and you've recognized that you have saved more than you would have done in the previous quarter, then you've made significant financial progress. So it's very important that you monitor this. Of course, we're talking financial progress, but then we have to maintain good health. We have to have a financial plan. In the midst of having a financial plan, you should not ignore your body and mental health. Spend what is needed on your body so that you are less stressed. As principals, we know how stressed we are. So continue to monitor your stress levels, eat right, do what you need to do, exercise, because if you don't do that, the little amount that you're saving, they say it's going to be a rainy day. Right now, it's been a rainy year. So you want to ensure that you have those funds there because you will be spending it in order to take care of yourself. Always remember your health is your most important investment.
Thank you so much, Ms. Belize. My God. Rita, are you too busy taking notes to realize that this, oh my God. But Mrs. Belize, there's a question here from one of our participants. What technological tools would you recommend to principals to make sure that they are more efficient in financial management?
Okay, there are quite a few accounting software that principals can use, but if it's for personal financing, there are many apps that you can download on your phone that will help you budget. So whether it is Google Play, I am an Apple girl, so I would say App Store, but I think it's what Google, those with the Android phones use, right? There are many apps that you can download on your phone to help you monitor your spending. As a principal, there is accounting software, but what you would recognize is based on what the accounting software would ask you, it may not be the best thing to use for a school. If you're running a small business, you have QuickBook accounting and some other accounting software, but some of the areas that some of what you would need to populate that accounting software with, we don't really do that at school. So with the help of your bursar, you can have a nice Excel sheet and that you can input your data, the calculations will be done for you. But for personal finances, I would recommend that you download
Now, I know accounting is a serious business. I know that, managing finances should be taken very seriously. But with the host of responsibilities we have at the school, how do you manage to keep abreast of what's happening financially at your school? Where, at what time, at what point of the day, or do you find yourself having to do this at home?
Me, home? No, I don't. I don't manage school finances at home. My bursar will tell you that I'm on a case very, very often. I always need to know the bank balance. I always need to know that we are reconciling before spending money on anything. Well, not the small, not like petty cash, but any major project that we have at the school, I need to know the actual balance. So the bursar now would have to get the bank statement, we do the reconciliation, and then we know exactly how, I can tell you today how much money is on my school's account.
Very good.
If it is that I need to spend money on a certain thing, I would know, okay, this is what we have. Now, in doing that, you also have to subtract, as I said earlier, the funds belonging to, let's say, Form 1s who come in. When the Form 1s come in and they pay facility fees, these monies go to everything that you have to give the Form 1. So you have to make sure that this is subtracted. The departments raise funds, other clubs raise funds. That's not money for you to just spend, because they will need it for whatever. So in checking to see the balances, you ensure that you subtract this, but you do that with your management team. You can do it with your bursar. You can have a finance team in place that will assist you. You don't do it on your own, but I'm a finance person, so.
Yes.
Thank
you so much, Miss. And Richard, would you like to add to anything that we've said? I know the participants are in awe. They found this very insightful, succinct, relevant, timely, excellent. And there was one question: is it financially prudent to keep a large balance and manageable monthly installment commitments, or small balance and no monthly installment? In 2 words, what would you say? Yes or no?
I'm not getting, is it prudent to have a large balance
and manageable monthly installment commitments, or small balance and no
balance
monthly
where?
installment? I'm not sure, Mr. Hunt.
Because the balance on your savings account, I'm not sure, because the person has to be a little more specific.
Okay, so we will
ask. In terms of savings, if it's in terms of savings, I mean, there is no amount that's too much for savings. So you try to increase your savings as much as possible. And that is why you need to have your monthly budget. So you're spending on only what's necessary, but and with COVID has taught us, remember I said there's no longer a rainy day, it was a rainy year.
Yes.
So in essence, you have to continue to save. There is going to be a recession. We don't know what's going to happen. So my advice to you is save.
Thank you.
Leave stuff
very
behind,
much.
whether even for school, because remember, we depend on government subvention, and that's the bulk of the money we would receive. We depend on facility fees from parents. We depend on benefactors. They cannot give us all what they used to before. So even as a school, we have to ensure that our balances are up there.
Thank you very much, Miss. Thank you very much. As promised, a wonderful presentation. And so, Rita, we've come to the end. What happens now?
Well, right now, I have to thank Ms. Belazaire very, very much. And I'm sure we see the appreciation in the chat and all of the possibilities for increasing and transforming our perspective on financial management, both at school and in our personal lives, and also for performance. They were so practically laid out by Ms. Belazaire that we can only say thank you very much again. And now, Marva, we would have to tell everybody to make sure that they complete the feedback form, because this is how we get information to plan for future Thoughtful Thursdays. We're closing this season today. So this is an extended segment where we get to reflect on what has happened over the past 10 weeks. So please make sure that you fill out the feedback form and that you also stay online. And we have more in store for you as we continue. And what Ms. Belazaire presented is just, what we do on Thoughtful Thursday, Marva, we grow, we learn, we grow. And Ms. Belazaire really made sure that that happened today. So
Thank you
feedback
so
form
much.
and
Mhm.
stay online, everyone, as we turn over to, go ahead, Marva, introduce
Yes,
our.
we would like to thank all our participants. You're very engaging, attentive, and committed to our phenomenal Thoughtful Thursday. Now over to you, Charlene, who will moderate our extended reflection segment and close season 2.
Thank you. Thank you. It has indeed been a very, very informative presentation by Ms. Belazaire. Thank you to Marva and Rita for the St. Lucian Anguillan fusion. I would have to say that this has been one of my favorite segments. It has been extremely informative, and I am sure for our participants as well, as we saw from the chat. So I cannot believe that 10 sessions, we have come to the end of season 2. And we saw a definite growth and development of this initiative, becoming more technically conscious, visually appealing, and more sharing of the responsibilities and of the production segments by other territories of the CAPS family. And it has been absolutely thrilling to witness the various interpretations of the themes by individual territories. To all who continue to tune in, we do savor all your comments and continue to explore ways of developing and delivering rich, cognitively stimulating, and emotionally rejuvenating information that leaves us all longing for more. Season 2, I believe, saw Thoughtful Thursday truly evolve into a Caribbean connection. There was tremendous amount of collaboration, creativity, innovation, and proving once again and once and for all something we all knew: we are stronger together. So we want to close the season by inviting a few of our moderators and some of the participants who frequent Thoughtful Thursdays to share and reflect on their most memorable sessions for the season. So we would have liked to have from everyone. So even while we're doing this, we want to invite the participants, if you can, in the chat. You can also post some of the memorable sessions that that really struck a chord with you. We would like to start with Ms. Samantha Antoine Purcell, principal of St. George's Institute High School, Grenada, who moderated session 3 and 4. And I had the pleasure of moderating with you, Samantha, session 3. It's so good to be sharing the platform with you again. So, Samantha, can you share with us what was one of your memorable sessions?
Good night, Charlene. It is a pleasure to be sitting with you here again. Good night to everyone who has joined us tonight. It is difficult to determine what would be just one. I think this season has seen, and you mentioned it earlier, so much of a growth that I've had so many memorable experiences from really great feature presenters to like this evening, the moments of movement. I love to dance, so that tickles me. And we've seen some very, very, very interesting moments of movement this season. But for me, if I have to narrow it down, I probably actually want to start with the very first session of the season. And I think that was, but I know it was by Mr. Jonathan Lacrette, and he spoke about an attitude of gratitude. It was the very, very first session we did. Grenada was moderating for the month of January, and we started off with that. It was so timely to have started on that note in this new year, 2021 at the time. So as I pause and I reflect on it, what I can say is this. An attitude of gratitude means making it a habit to express thankfulness and and appreciation in all parts of one's life on a regular basis, and for both the big things and the small things. And like House puts it, if you concentrate on what you have, you'll always have more. It is so easy for us to think about what we do not have and how the pandemic has affected our movements and interactions negatively, especially as educators, when we think of the number of challenges presented and met daily. It is just too much to mention. However, the first presentation's key takeaway was, it was a call for us to constantly work on developing a positive attitude. So it caused me to ask myself, what do I have as opposed to what I do not have? What are my students able to do as opposed to what they aren't able to do? What access do my students have as opposed to which access they do not have? And so what's the point here? Let's practice being grateful. Let's be grateful for life and opportunity presented on this growing platform to build community. And with that building of community, a growing sense of purpose. And these are two of the key things that speakers spoke to. As a principal of a new school during these very harsh economic times, I have found it totally addictive to constantly appreciate the small blessings. So let's appreciate Thoughtful Thursday and the opportunity that can mean for us as individuals, as a collective, and for the development of education in the region and even in the wider world. Let's challenge ourselves to check our attitudes and always remember to show some form of gratitude. And this can be done through simple steps, like keeping yourselves accountable for the type of environment in which you allow your attitude to be influenced. I am really thankful for this platform, what it has done for me as a young professional, what it has done for me as a young educator, what it has done for me, helping me to refine my purpose, my passions, my joy, and what it has done to build community in this profession. So I stand grateful, and that's my takeaway, Shani. Shani, we're not hearing you. You're muted.
Mr. Lecret certainly stressed the importance of having the purpose, knowing your purpose. And that puts a lot of things in perspective, as you said, because as Ms. Belizaire also said, you know, in terms of sacrificing, it will make it easier when you recognize what are the important things. And it's easier to realize, you know, what are the things I can do without. And these are things as administrators we are charged with in terms of management. So it was definitely a powerful start to the season. And I need to, you know, just acknowledge the Grenadian colleagues who really set the standard for the season. It was inspiring, you know, and it was so fulfilling, the presentations. So we acknowledge all of the moderators, and thank you, Samantha, for assisting this evening. Okay, so we are moving on. And next we invite Mr. Joseph Maynard, one of our very dedicated participants who has tuned in almost every evening. I don't think you missed probably one session.
Maybe one or two, yes.
Maybe
in the first season, I missed one, but I've been always coming because I think it is a wonderful opportunity to interact with my colleagues across the Caribbean.
Oh yes, and it has been indeed a pleasure. I'm so glad that, you know, you continue to support. Mr. Maynard is a principal of Common Bear School in Barbados, and he has been principal for 6 years, but he has been at Common Bear for 1.5 years. And Mr. Maynard, we welcome you, and we do value your continued support. And even more so, I know that you have experienced some personal loss very at this time. And so we are even more appreciative of your presence. So if you can share with us one of your sessions that really stood out.
Yes, I would say that for me, one of the most interesting would have been the one on emotional intelligence. all of them were good, but I really enjoyed the session on emotional intelligence that was in session 2 of season 2. One of the thoughts really is that we are, as principals, we are instructional leaders, but we are certainly much more. There's so many things that are placed upon us as responsibilities that, you know, it is amazing. And one of the things in looking at the whole matter of emotional intelligence, we talk about the ability to identify your emotions and to control them. And one of the things that was raised in that particular discussion was the matter of the fact that persons look to us as principals for leadership, parents, students, teachers, and even fellow colleagues. And all of this is very true. What I have found over the years as an expansion on this particular topic is that I've always found that as a teacher first, certainly, and then later as a principal, there were many situations where parents and students were in great need. They were facing tremendous challenges. And, you know, sometimes we feel that we have to take a heavy hand in situations, but we don't often have to. Sometimes a person just needs somebody to talk to. And I remember on one occasion when I was talking to a parent, she was very upset at something that had happened at the school, and she had tried to get some resolution to the issue. And then when I heard about the matter, I asked her to come to the office, and I spoke with her. And she later said to someone, you know, if it wasn't for Mr. Mearner, this matter would have gone a lot further. I think it is very important to be able to empathize, you know, with persons. And it is something that is very necessary. I've had the fortune, let me say, of leading 4 schools in my career as a leader. And I was first at one of my substantive schools, that was Harrison College, where my colleague Miss Wade is now. I was there for 35 years, and then I was at some of the other schools for shorter periods of time. But what I always found is that there were persons, no matter what school it was, no matter what the situation, there were persons who always just needed someone to talk to, someone to share things with. And, you know, I would have children who would come and say to me, you know, Mr. Mearner, I just thank you because you listen. You know, you're just somebody there to share things with. And, you know, sometimes we want to be somebody else. And that's not necessary. We just need to be ourselves. And one of the things that I've always been told is, Mr. Mearner, you listen. And that is something that is very important. You just need to listen. I've had the experience of talking to someone and the person just began to cry. And I said, you know, it's okay. It is okay. I also had a situation where I was going to punish a student and the young lady began to cry. And I said to her, you know what? You are not going to get past me with the crying because I'm too hard for that. Right. So it is something that is critical for us as individuals to recognize that as leaders, we have to be able, as I said, to empathize. We have to be able to recognize that if we are going to help others, we must be in control of our own emotions. We must recognize, you know, that it is important to, you know, recognize that we must do the things that are necessary. For example, yes, we are, as the presentation this evening in relation to financial management and so on, very critical, but we must not lose the human touch. It is extremely important. If we lose the human touch, all of the other things we are doing are to no avail at all.
That is so true. Oh, Mr. Mearner, you spoke from the heart.
Yes.
You just spoke from the heart, sir. And you know, that session on emotional intelligence, it just showed the importance of administrators really mastering emotional literacy as it is. And as you know, knowing when, you know, to be firm and sometimes just a soft hand or a firm hand, and makes a big difference. I can tell you, you're passionate about what you do, and we're glad that you've been able to share with us this evening.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And so now we have, we bring back our St. Lucian moderator who has been on this evening, Marva. You just jump in. Just tell us, which of the sessions did you enjoy?
Well, I enjoyed all, but I think that emotional intelligence and attitude of gratitude, and very importantly, mental wellness and stress management. I actually felt sorry for Sister Julie when you gave her these two powerful topics to present, but she did a wonderful job, I recall, you know, because we all agree that managing stress is so important. We know what it leads to: increased brain function, you know, boosted immune systems, and our ability to manage stressful situations, especially now. And so CAPS hats off to you for including this, you know, mental wellness and stress management as part of season 2. I mean, we can't manage our schools if we can't manage our work and our out of work life. We need to think clearly, function effectively, and enjoy life. We need to find a balance, because guess what? Once gone, we are replaced. We are certainly not indispensable. And so we need to seek emotional equilibrium. We need to balance the health of our mind, our body, and our soul. And Sister Julie aptly presented this, you know, to us in session 3, you know, and she provided so many ways that we know, you know, all of us know what to do. We know we need to exercise, we need to eat well, we need to do this. And she just stressed it. But, you know, President Wright from Jamaica said something so important. Sound mental health, if I recall, and correct me, implies balance. And finding that balance is so important. And very early on, I think one of the moderators, she said that we have to clear the clutter. We're always so busy, and make space for ourselves. You know, we have to be crazy, you know, to not do that. And so it speaks to our mental health. We have to take purposeful breaks. I think Sister Julie alluded to that. And we tell everybody what to do. We're so good as leaders telling people what to do, you know, but we really don't take care of ourselves. So that session was really, really speaking to me, and my colleagues were there, they know that. Yes, never a boring, dull moment. All right, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to stop telling people to do so and do it for ourselves. So that's all I wanted to share about this session. And really, really resounded and it's stuck in my head.
Yes, thank you so much. I don't think you know, this is one of the magic of this platform. Sister Julia, I believe, was in Italy when that session was aired, and we were able to have her, you know, join us. So it just tells you just what is possible now.
I don't think she was finished, you know, Charlene. I think this, yes, she was actually cut, and she was about to say something about.
So it was one of the things with live performances that it were, but it was so powerful, the what she shared. All right, so it was in fact one of my fun sessions as well, having worked with Sister Julie in Trinidad. She was down here for a little while as well at one of our schools. So thank you again, Marva, for reminding us of that, right? And we now bring on another participant who has been very, very frequent, who doesn't miss one of our sessions, and coming out of Jamaica. So I want you to recognize the connection that we are having here. I mean, we are all over the Caribbean this evening. And coming out of Jamaica, we have Mr. Altino Facey, right, who is the Vice Principal of the Junun Park Technical High. And good evening, sir. Good evening, Altino. How are you?
Yes, good evening. I'm doing well. It's good to be here again. Junun Park Technical High is the name. Yes, I always enjoy coming on to Thoughtful Thursday. You know, normally we have professional development at different times of the year, whether it's before the holidays or in the summer. And I consider this to be my weekly professional development. I enjoyed all the sessions that took place. As I say, I look forward to coming to the program each week.
Now, I recall you said you had a difficult time really choosing. So I'm curious to know which one you settled on.
Well, I finally settled on session 9, the digital instructional leader, today's principal. And one of the things, it's where we are in terms of understanding the technology that we have before us, and being empowered as leaders, and also empowering our teachers as they go to empower the students. There's a lot of fear there in terms of persons not understanding the technology and think it's past their era, and they are still struggling to use it. We're showing them that as educators, we are also learning how to use the technology. And last week, what stood out was the different add-ons, because I'm currently learning the different add-ons that can be used with the Google platform. We recently would have had our first online test there in January, where we did the exams, and we are looking out of what add-ons can be put on in terms of a timer, or we can use the timer to open and close the papers. So I was surprised when Mr. Royston Emmanuel, when he did his presentation, the different add-ons, Blue Baroo, that is the first I was hearing about that one. So looking up on that, and what the add-ons will help us do in terms of the intervention. So many times it's after the report that we start doing the analysis where our students are. I know we can do it on a daily basis. We don't have the papers there ticking, and when you get through to go through who is falling behind which question, it's there before you. The technology is making it so easy. So as I'm empowered from this session, I just go back to the classroom to empower the teachers. So I already have the name for the workshop for the teachers, the digital savvy instructional leader, today's teacher, breaking them up in departments, and we'll be doing some hands-on as we learn the different add-ons, so they'll be more empowered going into their classroom.
Excellent. So I mean, you sound so inspired and so encouraged, and I like how you said every week professional development. This is what, in fact, as a vice principal, and of course, soon to be a principal, you are going to benefit, and you have tremendously. So we'd like to thank all the colleagues from Jamaica who continue to tune in and, have really worked with us in building this platform. Thank you so much for sharing, Altino.
Yes, I really thank you, because one of the things also, the teachers tend to call you because they think you know it all already, you know this thing. Yes, so you have to continue researching. So thank you for the sessions. Really enjoyed them.
Thanks again. Thank you. And moving quickly along, I would like to invite one of the moderators from representing the contingent of Belize, Principal Omar Longsworth. Omar, how are you?
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you so much.
So glad that you could join us.
Yes.
Right?
It's my
pleasure.
So let
me just say, Omar is the principal of Independence High School in Southern Belize. And the Belizean team continued on the momentum built up from Grenada, when Grenada started this season. And we thank all the moderators and coordinators for their dedication to the sessions each week, and making each session so memorable. So Omar, which session, if you had to choose, what would you like to reflect on?
Well, like my other colleagues, there are so many wonderful presentations that were done throughout the season. But given that I have served as a leader in my institution for a little over 20 years, I decided to focus on the recharging the leader in you. And I decided on that one because, the COVID situation across the world, the challenges and the anxiety and the stress and everything we have had to contend with, we find that it is absolutely necessary. We have had to, as leaders, try to find how we keep recharging ourselves and by extension, recharging the people that we continue to serve, our teachers, our parents, and our students. And so I thought I would present on Dr. Chamberlain's presentation from Belize, where she focused on recharging the leader in ourselves. And I would like to mention that you know, the ideas presented by Dr. Chamberlain certainly served to refresh my thinking and my professional practice. And initially, I would want to mention two things. One, where we must always remember that leadership is a decision. It's a decision you make that because you understand that people you have to sometimes see how you can inspire people to do things that sometimes they think they don't know how to do or could not do. And also because that as educational leaders in our respective territories, we significantly impact the direction of education in our countries. And that has some very serious implications, colleagues, in terms of how we prepare our young people to take on leadership roles, whichever role they take on in their communities and cities and towns and countries. And so that has some very serious implications for all of us as leaders. We must also be conscious of the fact that teachers, students, and people in general will follow us if we are able to model those behaviors that we want them to follow. This means that as leaders, we need to build ourselves to deliver more than what is expected of us. We must be of sound mind, body, and spirit, because it is only by so doing that we'll be able to transcend those same things to our students and our teachers. As leaders, from time to time, we hear people would say, you know, we need to put students first, and teachers, we need to be servants to our teachers and our parents and everybody else. And those things may be true, or they are true. But Dr. Chamberlain mentioned in her presentation that it is absolutely important for us to remember that we also need to focus on ourselves. We have to focus on ourselves first. And the premise of that, if we are not well in body, in mind, and in spirit, then we would not be able to transcend that to the people that we're serving. And so the first step is to ensure that, in fact, we are well, that we are subscribing to self-care. And we need to ask ourselves individually, colleagues, you know, when last did you go out to dinner? When last did you go to a resort for a nice weekend just to think of yourself and nothing about school? And if you cannot come up with a quick answer for that, then it means that we have homework to do, and we need to find time for ourselves in respect to that. Her presentation also focused on innovation. And when we think of innovation, we tend to think of innovation in strategies, in methodologies, in technology, but it's also about innovating oneself. We are operating in a system where we have become connected with devices, and we have given less value to the humanness of our profession. And as a result of that, we have created a disconnect with self and with others. And so, colleagues, we need to ask ourselves, what do we do forward? How do we move forward? What do we need to do? And I want to mention three things. We need to create where we need to be. Colleagues, leadership is about action. Be present in everything we do and be mindful that disasters will only happen when we allow others to take away our shine. We need to commit to our inner circle, because it is only if we are able to do so that we will be able to expand our outer circle. And one of the key points presented in that session, my colleagues, know when to hit that delete button. Dr. Chamberlain said, we don't want to allow people to run through our minds with their dirty feet. You know, there'll be those personalities that serve as distractors in our institutions. You need to know how to manage them and how to keep them at a distance so that they don't affect you in a way that you cannot do justice to the profession that you have been called to. So as we continue to move forward, my friends and colleagues and fellow principals, in our own setting and in our own institutions, I want us to remember that we need to continue at all times to subscribe to the culture or to a culture of positivity. We need to remember that when we speak, let us speak with a positive tone. You see, our words can serve to help people, or they can serve to hurt people. You need to be careful when you speak. And so we want to be mindful of that. We also need to teach people how to treat us right? So we teach people how to treat us by what we allow, what we stop, and what we reinforce. And colleagues, we need to tell ourselves at all times, the only impossible journey is the one that you never begin. So nothing is impossible for us as leaders. That's why we are leaders. One of the presenters today, I think the presidential thought or one of them mentioned that, look, we are in one of the breakout rooms. We have been able to, as leaders, you do so much. You make things happen. You create miracles to make things happen in our institutions. And so nothing is impossible once we put the mind to it. And that is then an indication of the fact, you know, that we are powerful beyond measure. And so, given that we know that fact, colleagues, we must always, you know, all of these presentations that we have listened to, season 1 and season 2, thoughtful, provoking, ideas, innovative, and presented us with so many new ideas that we could take back to our institutions and try to see how we can move away from the routines and create impactful changes in our respective institutions. When I did the moderation of the 2 sessions, I think 7 and 8, I think I asked the question, are we going to stick with what we think we know? Or are we going to tend to take on all these wonderful ideas and recommendations and use them to make impactful changes in our institutions? That is what I want for us to think about as leaders. Let us dare to become the greatest leader they could ever be in our institution. I thank you so much for the privilege to have been able to moderate. I encourage all my colleagues, let us continue to be a part of these presentations. I missed a few in session 1. I was more on board in session 2, and I want to continue to be on board in the next season that will come, because these sessions are very helpful. The sharing of ideas in those breakout rooms and those presidential thoughts and those keynote addresses and the moment of movement, all of those things were so beautifully placed. I challenge all of us to continue to stay with this program and let it continue to be meaningful for all of us. Thank you so much, and do have a wonderful evening.
Omar, I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't just bring the curtains down on this, you know, and I didn't want to hit the delete button in the interest of time, but you said so much, and thank you so much, because I can tell, you know, this is so impactful, right? But thank you again, and thanks to all our colleagues and moderators from Belize, right, for being part of this. I need to quickly now move on to introducing Miss Shara Carrington James, who is charged with bringing the curtains down. So, Miss James, Carrington James, all yours.
Good evening, colleagues, and thank you very much, Charlene. Thoughtful Thursday is envisioned as an agency of professional support and development for those of us in the principalship, both in secondary and primary schools throughout our region. And we started season 1 in July of 2020. I don't know if you all realize that. 21 sessions in season 1 and 10 in season 2. We started off sending off our students, CSEC and CAPE students, with Faith and Confidence service, in which we featured Dwight York and Father, well, he's Bishop, Clyde Harvey, the Bishop of Grenada, actually pronounced the blessing on our students. We felt that with the onset of the pandemic and the changing of our students' world, that they needed to feel our support. They needed to know that we were there. We empathized and demonstrated to them that we cared. And that was Thoughtful Thursday, session 1, season 1. We have now evolved and grown to be an engaging forum to which many of you look forward every Thursday. It is the forerunner to our CAPS Trinbago 2021 conference. So I'm challenging you now to save the date. Save the date, Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July, 2021. Save the date. CAPS conference for the last 27 conferences was traditionally the highlight of our calendar across the region. That's what we looked forward to. From the time when we were called the Headmaster and Headmistress Association, that's more than 50 years back. And we've gone through transformation. We saw us moving in Belize in 2017, and yet we move again. Another mindset shift as the pandemic has dictated that CAPS 2021 shall be a virtual conference. So I'm asking Stephen Jackman, save the date. What date are we saving, Stephen? Mr. Jackman, you just unmute your mic straight out of Barbados and tell me what date is Barbados saving.
Monday, July 26th to Saturday, July 31st. It will become the second most important week in July.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Straight out of Barbados. History says that the digital divide, is real. And the empirical data says that when educators access technology, usually, you know what they say that we do? We just extend the same old practices onto a new platform. It is our hope that we at CAPS can take us through the ideal, what is espoused as that trajectory of learner development as we go beyond what people have labeled as the new normal. And we do something exceptional in educational excellence across the Caribbean. So I'm going to ask Andre McCauley, straight out of Dominica, save the date. What date are we saving in Dominica, Andre?
Okay, we're saving the date Monday, July 26th to Saturday, July 31st, 2021.
Beautiful. Dominica is on board.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much, Andre. We at Thoughtful Thursday have examined all the feedback given to us each night. And one of the things that is consistent and congruent with the views of several observers is that sometimes we attend these high-powered professional conferences over the years, but the most animated and high-quality conversations occur outside of the meeting rooms. In the coffee shops, in the hallways, in the lobbies, you see peers of people, you see energetic discussions with small groups. Your feedback about the time in the breakout rooms has been heard. I give you that assurance and will be part of our virtual initiative in CAPS Conference 2021. So I'm asking Suan Dumas out of Tobago, what date are we saving?
Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July, 2021.
Tobago is on board. Thank you very much, Suan. So we will try to have engaging and innovative ideas presented, and as far as it's possible, move away from the pedantic presentations. And we've had some beautiful ones just reflected on in Thoughtful Thursday. We will attempt with qualified professionals to put what we call confer back in the conference. We promise an exciting offering of exhibitors. We have several embassies and tech companies that are already desirous of partnering with CAPS. Help us to find or spark and create a fire for education. I urge you, anybody who can quickly raise their hand to tell me what date are the participants of CAPS saving. Tech team, you would tell me whose hand went up first. Anybody, what date are we saving? Just raise your hand, open your mic and tell me what date are we saving. All right, Mrs. Hicks Rayburn, what date are we saving here? Straight out of Trinidad.
Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July, 2021.
Beautiful. So we started.
L. Wallace. L. Wallace's hand is up.
Mr. Wallace and Ms. Ramnarine, what date are we saving? Mr. Wallace, what territory are you from?
St. Lucia.
So tell me, what date is St. Lucia saving?
Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July, 2021.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ramnarine, where is Ms. Ramnarine?
We are saving the Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July in 2021. All of us.
I suspect that you're from Tobago. We started season 2 with an attitude of gratitude, and that is the note on which I want to close. Literature says that if we express gratitude, I'm supposed to experience a 10% increase in happiness. So Mr. Longsworth, I will book my room in the hotel come the beginning of April. 35% reduction in depressive thoughts. Well, I hope I don't have any of that. So I am going to say to you, the happy effects of thankfulness, they say, disappear in 3 to 6 months. So we have to keep repeating this attitude of gratitude. It has to be repeated. So I'm going to express on behalf of CAPS and all of those on the tech team, or thank yous to the tremendous support given by Grenada and its president, Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, the team out of Belize, phenomenal, Miss Heidi, as they call her, and Examine Philbert, out of St. Lucia, Rita Carty out of Anguilla, RSC or tech support team that has stood with us, all our moderators, I say thank you. But to you who come on every week, participants, this can't happen without you. We hit a high of 160 participants consistently over the last couple of sessions, but I'm asking you, let's aim for 500 in season 3. April the 8th, 2021, with the president of BAPS, you heard him, Barbados, the Bajans are going to be in the house, Stephen Jackman and his team will kick off season 3. Don't miss it. Bring a new principal, bring a new vice principal colleague. Next season, whether primary or secondary, we start on the 8th of April. And we are going to lead up to CAPS conference. So I ask again, what date are we saving? Anybody?
We are saving Monday, 26th July,
Saturday 31st July 2021. Monday, 26th July to Saturday, 31st July 2021.
Beautiful. It is said that collective efficacy is the term used by Bandura when a team of individuals embark on a course to successfully achieve a particular outcome. It's inextricably linked, they say, to the confidence that's placed in the team. And I really want to say that all of us, by showing up here every week, have placed phenomenal confidence in our Thoughtful Thursday team, leading into CAPS. I say thank you to all of us. The confidence is there. And as a team, we would embark on CAPS Conference Trinbago 2021 and anticipate the beautiful success. Happy International Women's Day. Happy Easter to all of you in the Christian community in our region, and to our Hindu participants who are tonight celebrating and wouldn't stay on any longer with us. I say enjoy your celebration. Stay on now, because CAPS Trinbago 2021 is coming. Experience a little bit of Trinbago culture, and I'd invite Kevin to say warmly, welcome to Trinbago 2021. Let us hear it resoundingly, July 26th. One more time, July 26th.
July 26th. July 26th, 31st July.
2021. This sounds so wonderful, like the Chenet and the Aki and the Genep and son. Thank you very much. Kevin, all over to you. Good night. See you in season 3. See you at CAPS Conference. Experience the warmth of Trinidad and Tobago.
Join in the celebration. Feel the excitement. Savor the music. This is the land of festivals. Revel in the delights and spectacles of the unique Trinidad experience. This is a tropical paradise. Trinidad has much more to offer than the traditional sun, sea, and sand vacation. Located at the southernmost end of the Caribbean chain, the island, with its rich cosmopolitan flavor, offers an exciting array of cultural experiences and leisure pursuits. Here you will find an enticing mix of cultural activities, festivals, and eco-adventure. Its rich cultural diversity is reflected in the numerous festivals inherited from the many ethnic groups that settled here. This is the birthplace of the steel pan, the only instrument to be created in the 20th century. Its distinctive sound and the pulsating rhythms make this musical adventure a truly unforgettable experience. It is also the place to experience the greatest show on earth, Carnival. Just before the Lenten season, thousands of revelers move to the pulsating sound of soca music in a dazzling display of color, creativity, and splendor. Then, after the excitement of Carnival, it's time to relax. The Northern Range, with its breathtaking views of the Atlantic Ocean, is your gateway to Maracas Bay. This popular recreational facility provides the visitor with an experience that is at once exhilarating, relaxing, and, yes, appetizing. As an ecotourism destination, Trinidad offers the visitor an amazing range of experiences of the natural world. The more than 400 species of birds, the exotic wildlife, and unique species of natural vegetation make this an eco-adventurer's delight. The mangrove of the Caroni Swamp has an astonishing array of wildlife, including the spectacular sight of scarlet ibis nesting at dusk. For a change of pace, take a trip down the islands, where homeowners enjoy the beauty and tranquility of an ocean front. And you too will discover its delights in the dark and mysterious caves with their secrets to uncover. South of the island is one of the world's natural wonders, the Pitch Lake, a never-ending supply of asphalt that attracts some 200,000 visitors annually. But there's much more to these islands than its natural wonders and ecological beauty. Trinidad's history also provides the visitor with a glimpse into the past. Fort George, overlooking the capital of Port of Spain, tells of the long and often turbulent times when European nations fought to govern the island. Today, the bustling city offers the visitor an exciting nightlife experience with a range of enticing pleasure pursuits, including fine dining and entertainment. This is Trinidad, dynamic, exhilarating, unique. Move beyond the ordinary. Come and be amazed. Come discover the wonders that await you. Trinidad and Tobago, the true Caribbean.